So I'd like to tell you a short story that's just going to build upon what it is that we've already looked at, because every story that we ultimately go on to tell other people, our friends, our families, or our audiences, there must be a purpose for. If there's no purpose for the story that we're telling, then we're not actually aware of where it is that we're ultimately wanting to take other people. So I want to tell you a little story, and this was actually back in 2003, before, during and after the last Gulf War. Now, I actually had the opportunity to spend around about 9 months in Iraq as part and a member of the British Army. I was serving in the Royal Engineers at the time. Now, I joined the Army at the age of 16, I left it around about the age of 24, and this was my final tour of military duty. Serving Queen and Country, I was just about ready for hanging up my boots, I was just about ready for getting out. But this was my opportunity to live through and experience war, and this was something that I'd really wanted to experience since being a young child. So this was the opportunity that I ultimately got. Now, yeah, we'd obviously had been told the various reasons why we were going to war, but back then we were, ordered not to ask questions, just to do as we're told and take orders. But there was this really interesting concept that the British government and the American government, the armies, seemed to buy into before the launch of this last Iraq war. And they called it Operation Hearts and Minds. Now, what the ideology behind this military operation was that as an invading nation, if the invading nation is able to win the hearts of the nation that they're invading, then this nation will freely give them their minds. Now, as you hear this, you might say, my word, Kane, that's a complete expression of manipulation. Well, it actually really was, alright? Clearly, British and Americans, all that they were really interested in was the oil. That's quite transparent now. But back then, there was a whole lot of uncertainty around about the cause and the purpose anyway. But look, we're not talking about the Iraq war here. What we are actually talking about is this Operation Hearts and Minds. Because, you see, there's a really interesting principle we can take from this if we're considering, telling stories on a personal, relational, professional context moving forward for the rest of our lives. And this is this. As I've already mentioned, sometimes it's not just what we say, it's sometimes the way in which we say what we say. But if the words that we use and the way in which we use these words strike the heartstrings of another person, and then in turn, if we're able to win another person's heart, we're able to get them to buy into us. We're able to get them to like us. If in fact we're able to get our audience to trust us, we've won their hearts. And once you've won your audience's hearts, or your friends' hearts, or these strangers' hearts, or whoever it is that you're intending on communicating to, once you've won their hearts, they will freely give you their minds.